Hello, my name is Joshua Chavez.
I am Zaire Jackson.
My name is Abigail Hernandez, and we will be talking about the coastal erosion campaign. To start off, we have a video for you. So what is coastal erosion? Coastal erosion is when the ocean slowly wears away land along the shore. Why coastal erosion? Coastal erosion has become an increasingly urgent issue by the impact of climate change. Rising sea levels and human activity. Choosing the topic is important because it affects the environment, the economy, and people's lives. Coastal areas also provide food, jobs, and support wildlife. So when land is lost, it harms the animals and ecosystem. Our goals: raise public awareness, promote better behaviors, and support for policy change.
Okay, so this is the history of coastal erosion, the issues and their problems. So we'll be breaking it down between the two right now, which is history and development of the issue. And that is basically that coastal erosion is something that has always happened naturally over time as waves and weather slowly reshape the shorelines. However, what's different now is that the process is happening way faster than it used to in the past. And that is due to human activity, such as building along the coast or building on the coast. And doing those two things while we have increasing climate change, it has made erosion even worse. So things like rising sea levels and stronger storms are speeding up. And because of how quickly they're speeding up, coastlines are disappearing. Why it's a growing problem? This is becoming a bigger problem because beaches in California, and I say California because that's where we're based right now, they are shrinking at a faster rate than before. Scientists are predicting that a large portion of these beaches could be disappearing by the year 2100. And right now, we're currently in the year 2026, and that's not a far gap. So, what used to be a very slow and gradual process, if you will, is now much more quick. It's happening a lot faster, and it increases the risk of communities, wildlife, people, and the infrastructure of what is built near these coasts. So these are just a couple images here. We have 2008 to 2021, and although we are in the year 2026, you can clearly see just between the gap of these years prior, how drastic it is. We also have an overhead view of 1990 and the current year now, which it isn't our current year now. It is still in 2021, 2022 area, but you can just see how much has changed. So now we have our target audiences, and we are going to start off with our primary. We're going to do our primary for two, both coastal residents, and we are going to do our primary for college students. So why we chose college students? We chose college students as a primary um, target audience because they are highly active in the social media world, and they are also highly active on campus. For us, it is very important that we reach through all accesses, which it rather be digital and in person, because of college students' everyday habits and their everyday lifestyles, such as using plastic or not properly disposing of their waste. It does contribute to coastal pollution greatly. So we would like them to positively influence their peers because they are in that space to make a positive change, both through interaction in person and through digital interaction as well. It will help speed up the process and it'll make it a lot quicker. For our coastal residents, this is very important, and they are a primary audience because they are directly affected by the coastal erosion. They live the closest to the shoreline, if not practically on it, and they experience the issues firsthand, almost always. So they have to deal with the flooding, the property damage, and the loss of land when it comes to it. And because of this, they have a strong personal connection to the issues, and they are more likely to take action and want to help. So they will also push, for positive change in the environment as well. Now we have our secondary audiences, which is going to be the general public and the tourists and beach visitors. We want to hit the general public because while they don't live near the coast, they still play a large role. They have everyday choices like plastic use and waste of habits that can directly affect the coastal environments, especially because of the larger consumption and they are not by the coast. They do it without knowing. So reaching this group helps expand awareness and encourages more people to take responsibility for their impact. And it also spreads knowledge and information. It's like a teachable moment. So with that being said, it goes into our tourists and our beach visitors because they also play the same exact role. Only difference is with tourists and beach visitors, because they frequently use the coastal areas, they don't feel responsible because they are not based there. And their actions, such as littering and their overuse of the resources when they come to visit, greatly increases the pollution and the environment damage. So by targeting this group, it is also to share that knowledge, share that awareness, and the goal is to also encourage more responsible behavior while they visit these beaches.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. For our campaign, we created a survey which was focused on our primary target audience, which we just explained, which are Los Angeles college students and local residents of the Los Angeles area. We did this in order to spread awareness about coastal erosion. Throughout the survey, we included questions about topics like environmental behavior. For example, we asked how often someone recycles to better understand their habits and how they may contribute to pollution. We also asked questions about personal experience and responsibility, both individual and government, by asking whether people seen the effects of coastal erosion throughout their lifetime personally. We even tested how people responded to our slogan, which is once it's washed away, it's gone for good, to see if it would be effective throughout our campaign. And overall, the survey, it helped guide the direction of our PSA by connecting audiences' behavior, awareness, and the general messaging. These are some of the results from our survey. This is a lot of the data that people answered personally. Looking at the results, a few key trends stood out. For example, we saw that awareness of coastal erosion varied. Although a majority of people were familiar with the issue, there was still a good amount that were unsure or somewhat unaware. This shows a gap in understanding of the issue as a whole. We also found that while many people reported positive environmental behaviors like recycling, as you can see in the middle, um, a lot of the times those habits aren't always directly related to understanding what coastal erosion is. And another important result we saw was how people viewed responsibility. And fortunately, a majority of people recognize that lifestyle changes are should be prioritized in order to help the environment as a whole. Overall, these results help better understand not what people know, but how they think of an issue firsthand. From the data, we were able to draw a few important conclusions, which directly influenced our campaign. First, the awareness of coastal erosion is not as high as expected, which means education needs to be our main focus of our PSA. Second, even though although people engaged in some environmental friendly behaviors, they don't always connect those actions to coastal impact. We also saw that people generally were open to environmental protection and change of their own daily lifestyles, especially when it feels relevant to them. So because of this, we designed our campaign to both inform and create a personal connection so that people understand that these choices are directly affected to coastal environments. And these insights directly influenced our PSA strategy. We created a PSA video. The PSA starts with a question. It asks, what if you can no longer visit the beaches that you grew up with? This creates a emotional and personal connection to the viewer and really makes them think, especially for people in the Los Angeles area who regularly visit the coast. We then explained coastal erosion as a natural process that's now happening at a much faster rate, though, due to rising sea levels, wave action, and human pollution or climate change. The PSA highlights the real consequences, including the loss of homes, land, infrastructure, and entire ecosystems. It also shows how erosion increases flooding, natural barriers like beaches and dunes to disappear. Based on our survey results, we use both educational and emotional appeal to make the message more effective and relatable. The PSA ends with a call to action, encouraging people to reduce pollution, support environmental efforts, and make more sustainable choices in their daily lives.
Addressing coastal erosion requires coordinated effort from individuals, communities, and institutions. There are practical ways people can stay involved and contribute to long-term solutions. For individuals, one of the most useful starting points is staying informed. Coastal erosion is becoming more visible in many parts of Los Angeles, and understanding why it is happening helps people make sense of the changes they may already be noticing. This can involve following local updates, reviewing information from coastal agencies, or attending public meetings where when shoreline projects are being discussed. Being informed makes it easier to engage in conversations and support decisions that consider long-term impacts rather than short-term fixes. People can also take part in local activities, volunteer opportunities such as beach cleanups, habitat restoration efforts, or educational events are accessible ways to get involved. While these actions may seem small on their own, they contribute to broader efforts to maintain coastal ecosystems and raise awareness. In addition, participating in public comment periods or community discussions allow individuals to have a voice in how coastal areas are managed. Community involvement is another key part of addressing erosion. Local organizations, schools, and neighborhood groups can help by hosting informational events, supporting restoration projects, or working with environmental agencies. Um, these efforts make the issue more visible and easier to understand, especially for people who might not feel directly affected at first. Um, When communities have a shared understanding of the problem, it becomes easier to support and coordinated responses. Government agencies play a central role in shaping how coastal erosion is managed. One important step is using recent scientific data uh, when planning for future conditions, adjusting building guidelines and limiting development in areas that are especially vulnerable can reduce long-term risks, even if these decisions can be difficult in the short term. Uh, Public funding is also an important part of the response. Investments in beach nourishment, shoreline monitoring, and research into alternative approaches such as nature-based solutions can help reduce to protect coastal areas while reducing environmental impact. These strategies are often designed to balance protection with access to beaches for recreation. Coordination across different levels of government is equally important. Coastal erosion does not follow city or county boundaries, so consistent planning across regions help avoid gaps or conflicts in management strategies. Campaign efforts can support this by encouraging collaboration and highlighting the benefits of shared approaches. And lastly, it is important to keep in mind that coastal erosion is an ongoing issue rather than something that can be resolved quickly. Shorelines will continue to change and responses will need to adapt over time. The most important steps that should be considered are staying informed, participating where possible, supporting long-term planning, and recognizing that progress will require ongoing attention rather than quick solutions.
And for our final thoughts, in conclusion, coastal erosion is not just a distant environmental issue. It's something that's actively affecting communities right now, and if left unaddressed, can lead to a permanent loss of the beaches you know and love. Throughout our survey, we found that awareness is somewhat limited. Many people are open to change once they understand the impact of their actions. Our goal with this campaign is to increase awareness, encouraging more sustainable behaviors, and promote long-term solutions to protect our coastlines. We encourage everyone to take small but meaningful actions, such as reduce waste, be responsible at beaches, and supporting policies that protect the environment. And ultimately, we must understand that the future of our coast depends on your individual choices. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.